Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I, of course, want to thank my partner, the ranking member, for her support of this bipartisan bill, H.R. 9340, the Ratepayer Protection Act. This legislation is shaped by directly what I'm hearing from my constituents, families, farmers, small businesses who are concerned about the cost of living, especially as they see growth in electricity demand surge all around them. Two things can be true. The AI phenomenon, that toothpaste ain't going back into the tube. The only question is, do we lead in it or do we cede ground to the Chinese? And if you're concerned about AI, you need to be terrified about what happens if communist China is leading in this space. And so we have to have the framework in place, not just for the nation and not just for national security, but in Colorado. We are a massive aerostate space. And in conversations, the growing technology in space and space development requires being able to crunch a lot of data, and that ties back to data centers. But the second thing is also true. These costs should not be borne by ratepayers. And people want to know, how are we going to pay for this? And that's what this bipartisan bill does. It says loud and clear that we cannot accelerate growth on the backs of Americans who are working hard to pay their electric bill at the end of every month. And the Ratepayer Protection Act requires each state regulatory authority to consider adopting a large load standard, one that applies to customers with 100 megawatts or more of power demand at their peak at a single facility, so things like large data centers and hyperscalers, because these are the customers that can single-handedly trigger the need for new generation, new substations, new transmission lines. And without these guardrails, those costs can get pushed on to everyone else. This bill stops that. The Ratepayer Protection Act rests on three common sense principles. First, large load customers should cover the full incremental cost of any generation, transmission, or distribution upgrades needed to serve their load. And if a data center needs a new high voltage line or a new generating station to meet that load, they are responsible for those costs, not businesses or families. Second, contracts should include meaningful financial assurances, upfront and long-term, to make sure that these large load demand entities have the money to be able to pay for this built-out infrastructure. Communities should not be left paying for infrastructure built by a single customer who later scales back or relocates. Third, this bill has flexibility. It says the what, but it leaves the how to the states. It does not impose a federal mandatory standard. Instead, it provides a thoughtful requirement for states to consider how they connect these large loads. States know their grids, their industries, and all of these stakeholders need to engage together with their local utilities, counties, and local governments to decide what approach is best for them. This builds upon the success of the President's Ratepayer Protection Pledge, and this legislation represents that public-private commitment to ensuring responsible economic growth and lower the cost for community members. Expanding the electric power system and adding more paying customers, that actually can improve reliability, strengthen the grid, reduce long-term costs, and harden infrastructure against outages and surges in demands. When large load customers are picking up the tab for all of those things, communities actually see the benefits from that improved infrastructure. In my community and many others across the country, people are anxious about the pace of data center development. They're not opposed to innovation. They just want assurances that their monthly bills aren't going to go up. And this bill is particularly important for states like Colorado, which have not yet set a standard for how large loads like data centers should be integrated into the grid. Colorado has debated data center-related proposals, but without a framework and a nudge, families and businesses remain at risk for higher utility bills. The Bipartisan Rate Protection Act gives states like Colorado a responsible policy foundation to work from and reassures community members that they will be protected from price surges. This bill is bipartisan. It's common sense. It keeps energy costs low for Americans, and it helps us build partnerships that build and improve the reliability and the affordability of the energy backbone that we need to compete and win in the AI area, and specifically in Colorado that we need to protect our massive aerospace economy. I urge my colleagues to support the Ratepayer Protection Act and yield back.